Hi guys, welcome back to another video. For today's video, as you guys can see from the title, I went ahead and went through my DMs for the most part. I know there's a ton of you guys that send me messages and I cannot get to each one, but I'm trying. So a ton of you guys send me questions. I went ahead and compiled them and made this video a how often should I blank. So I get a lot of how often should I be shampooing my hair, how often should I be deep conditioning, how often should I be trimming my hair, all of that. So I'm gonna answer all your questions today in this video. So I switched it up a little bit makeup wise. I went ahead and threw on a red lip. This is probably my absolute favorite lip color to have. I don't wear it often because I always feel like it's so extra, even though I feel like I'm very extra, but I also don't like, since I'm normally working from home, I don't want to like go to the store and put on red lips with leggings and a t-shirt because that's typically like my uniform. Every time I put on red lipstick, I just feel like a brand new person. I feel like I'm more me with a red lip. And this red lip in particular is from Fenty Beauty. It's my absolute favorite red lip. I believe it's called Uncensored. Anyways, so if you guys are interested in seeing the rest of this video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, turn on the alerts so you know when I post my next video. Now go ahead and drop my social handles so you guys can follow me on there as well, and keep on watching. Alright guys, so before we get into this video, I do want to put out a little disclaimer. These questions are answered tailored to my experience. So again, some answers might be different for different people, but these are my answers personally. But these answers are based off of my opinion and what has worked for me. So the first question that I commonly get all the time is, how often should I be shampooing my hair? So I feel like in the curly community, there are some people that have a very weird relationship with shampoo. But I'm here to tell you that shampoo is not your enemy. Of course, shampoos with harmful ingredients like sulfates, parabens, all of that, of course, I do not recommend you using those shampoos ever. But there's so many shampoos in the market that are super gentle on the curls and help cleanse it in the right way. So my personal suggestion is for you to wash your hair at least once a week. Once a week I feel like is a super safe number. There are some people that push it to 2 weeks, so wash your hair twice a month. But for me personally, I feel, especially if you have low porosity hair, because I can only speak for myself and low porosity girls, I feel that products tend to just build up and build up and build up on our hair. And if we're waiting 2 weeks to wash our hair, we're just gonna keep applying products and products and products, and our hair is gonna be a mess. So I personally find that my hair does better when I wash my hair twice a week. Again, that is not for everybody. I do recommend at least once a week because in between the week, not everyone refreshes their hair, but if you do refresh your hair, you're just adding more water and more product. So if you're just constantly adding product to your hair and you're not cleaning your scalp and cleaning your hair, then you're also preventing hair growth. So it's super important. So I'd say that once a week is a safe number. Okay, so another common question is, how often should I be shedding hair? How much is too much? Okay, so shedding is always gonna be something that concerns everybody, right? But shedding is completely normal. So the average human sheds about 50 to 100 hairs a day. So let's do the math, right? Say we're only washing our hair once a week. Then if you're naturally shedding 50 to 100 hairs a day, and maybe you throw your hair in a bun or you have your hair tied back and your hair is not actually falling out, and when you do wash your hair, all of the hair that you're naturally shedding is gonna come out. So think of it this way, you shed hair every single day. So shedding should not be the biggest concern for you, especially if you wash your hair weekly. It should be a common amount. If you see that every week it progressively gets bigger and bigger and bigger, then I would be concerned. But if it's a pretty consistent shed every week, then I would say you're fine. So for me personally, in the beginning, I know this is a little weird, but I actually would take pictures of the amount of shedding that I had, because at first it was a little concerning for me, but the more I learned about my hair and the more I messed with my hair, I started to realize like I just have a lot of freaking hair. So it's kind of expected of me to lose a little bit more. If you are concerned about the amount of hair that you are shedding, I would highly recommend you go to a dermatologist. But I would normally say it all just depends, because there are some weeks that I do shed more than others, and I'll explain why. So if I have my hair in a bun all week and I haven't messed with it and I've just literally been throwing it up in styles, then when I do wash my hair, I tend to have more shedding, versus when I leave my hair alone and just let it do its thing for the week, then I feel like I shed less. I personally also wash my hair about 1 to 2 times a week. I don't always wash my hair twice a week, but when I do feel like the more I wash my hair, the less I shed. I'm not giving my hair a whole 7 days of shedding to actually wash my hair and detangle and lose the hair, then I'm kind of breaking it up into like 3, 4. Do you know what I mean? 3 days and 4 days, depending on when I wash my hair in the week. common question that I get is how often should I be moisturizing my hair? So I feel like this answer is different for everybody. My thoughts on you moisturizing your hair, I would say it's all dependent on how your hair feels. So if your hair feels dry, then moisturize. If your hair feels moisturized, then don't over moisturize, because that's also a thing. Just go based off feeling. A lot of the learning that happens during your transition is pretty much by just going with the flow. So what I like to do is I go based off feeling, I go based off look. If my hair looks dry and it feels dry, then I go ahead and moisturize. By moisturizing, I mean grab a little spray bottle, spritz the dry areas, and then just add a little bit of leave-in and just go about your day. So the answer to that question is go based off how you feel. There's no specific answer to this. I would always say just go based off how your hair feels. And your ends are also a part of your hair that normally gets neglected very, very easily. So always focus on your ends since they are the oldest parts of your hair. If you start to notice that your ends are dry, then I highly recommend that you moisturize them because that is super duper important. My hair tends to feel dry every 2 days, depending on the wash and go that I had. So there's some wash and goes that give me more moisturizing results versus others. So it all depends on how moisturized my hair was during wash day. Does that make sense? Some products tend to not leave my hair as moisturized for as long as others do. So again, go based off of feeling, go based off of look. If your hair looks dry, feels dry, go ahead and spritz a little water to it and add your moisturizer. I would never recommend you just adding product to your hair without wetting it a little bit. It's a lot harder for the product to make its way through your hair if it's just sitting on dry hair. Most likely it'll just sit on your hair. Just spritz it a little bit, add some product, and go about your day. So another common question that I get a lot is how often should I be trimming my hair? So this is another question that I feel like it's very personal and it's all dependent on your hair. So my personal suggestion again is if your hair feels like it needs a trim, because you know when you need to trim. Like, let's all be real. I know we're just like, oh, I don't know if I need to trim. We know when we need to trim, especially when you can see like our ends starting to thin out. See, I just got a trim and I feel like I could trim a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? So especially when you are detangling your hair, you're working products through your hair, you start to feel that your ends are a little dry and your hair just feels like it needs a little something. So my suggestion when it comes to trimming is go based off of feeling. Now, if you are transitioning and you're just progressively cutting your hair as you go, then I say a safe time frame would be quarterly, or you can get it done every 6 months. When I was transitioning, every 6 months was typically the number that I went for, only because I was just really, really attached to my hair. So if you want quicker results, I say obviously trimming it more will give you quicker results, versus if you wait longer, it'll take longer. So the more you can cut and feel comfortable with, the better. But if you don't feel comfortable cutting it all off, you don't have to. The more you cut, the quicker the process will be. And I know those words are very, very triggering, because for me, even just saying it right now, after having my curls back and being healthy, I still feel like those words are very triggering. Just cut it. Like, cut it still is a little, When I used to get Diva cuts, they normally would suggest to come 3 to 4 times a year. So again, that's quarterly. It all just depends on how your hair feels. If your hair looks healthy, feels fine, then I don't think there's a need for a trim, unless you want it, because you can get a trim for no reason. I'm here for that too. But if you don't feel like you need it, then don't get it unless you want it. Okay, so another common question that I get is how often should I be doing protein treatments? So, protein treatments should only be done every 4 to 6 weeks. I personally do not recommend you doing it any sooner. I love protein treatments. I don't do them as consistently as I used to in the past, but when I was transitioning, game changer. Game changer. Absolutely loved protein treatments, especially the ApHogee 2-step treatment. I still use it to this day just to fortify my hair essentially, and just to keep my hair strong, healthy, all of that. Actually, the bounce that I get after doing it, I just feel like my curls just get so happy. So I absolutely love ApHogee treatments. So for those of you who don't know what a protein treatment actually does for your hair, it actually adds protein to the cuticle layer of your hair strands. So what that essentially does is that it strengthens your hair and it makes your hair less susceptible to breakage. So that's why during my transition, I was so consistent with these, because being that we would wash our hair and not really know what we're doing, at least for me in the beginning, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I wanted to make sure that I was still protecting my hair in the process, because I felt like my hair would literally just break out of nowhere. Like, my hair literally would break in the center when I had my keratin, and when I was dealing with a lot, guys, and I know you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You guys that are transitioning, heat damage, keratin, just, it's a lot. I highly recommend you doing a protein treatment if you are transitioning, because it does keep your hair strong and you will feel and see a difference. So again, one of my favorites is the ApHogee 2-step treatment. Highly recommend it. Love it, love it, love it. I think I actually have a video on my channel about it and how to use it. So go check that out. And every 4 to 6 weeks is a safe number. I normally do every 6 weeks. So like I said, since my hair is healthy again, I don't often do it that frequently, but I am very much due for a protein treatment. So another common question that I get is, how often should you deep condition? I talk about this all the time, a little bit too much to the point where I feel like I'm annoying, but I could never stress the importance of deep conditioning enough. Me personally, minimum a week. I recommend once a week, minimum. I've said this in previous videos. I used to actually deep condition twice a week when I was transitioning, and I don't think people realize the importance of deep conditioning and how far it can take you. I know it's tedious and I know it's an extra step to your wash day routine, but when I'm telling you guys, it's important. It's important. If you're consistent with deep conditioning, it'll help with your hair's dryness. It'll keep your hair strong. It'll keep your hair a little less frizzy. I'm not gonna say it completely eliminates the frizz, because your hair could be healthy and frizzy. Frizz doesn't indicate health. It's some people's hair is just a little bit more frizzy. Like mine is just ridiculously frizzy. So it doesn't take away frizz, but it does help with frizz, and it keeps your hair and scalp happy. So why not? So again, my recommendation, at least once a week. No excuses, no ifs, ands, or buts. If you want to see changes in your hair, once a week, at least. Okay? So I don't want to hear it. No, every other week. Nope. Every week. It's so important, guys. Once a week. And my last question, I'm sure I have many more, but I don't want to make this video too long. I might make a part 2 to this. So let me know in the comments below if you guys want another video. So my last question is, can you wet your hair too much? If you guys didn't know, when your hair is wet, your hair is more fragile and more susceptible to breakage. So there's nothing wrong with wetting your hair per se every day. What I won't say that I recommend is you dousing your hair in water every single day. So if you are gonna wet your hair, of course, I transitioned too, so I know that sometimes there's no other method but to wet your hair to get it to do whatever you want it to do. So what I used to do a lot is I used to actually wet it and then I diffuse it right away, for the most part. Not right away, but you know what I mean. Like I wouldn't just walk around with my hair wet every single day. I tried to diffuse it as well so I didn't have it wet as often. Manipulating your hair when it's wet, just like brushing it back, putting it in a ponytail, putting it in a bun, it'll cause breakage. And I learned that the hard way. And again, like I said, there's nothing wrong with wetting your hair every day, but don't leave it wet. Try to dry it. If you have to wet it every day, I don't recommend you wetting it every day, but if you have to and you feel like you have to, then just diffuse it. Or make sure you're not dousing your hair in water. Now, if you guys mean, can you wash your hair every day? Absolutely not. I do not recommend that, because you are stripping your hair from its natural oils, which will in turn leave your hair dry and again, more susceptible to breakage. So can you wet your hair too much? Yes and no. So what I would say is don't douse your hair in water. Do not just like throw your head underwater and just walk around with wet hair like that. If you are gonna wet your hair, just diffuse it. There's nothing wrong with wetting it, but you know guys, just don't throw it in a bun with your hair wet, because that's just not it. So if you gotta spritz the front a little bit and lay it up, there's nothing wrong with that. If you have to, spritz a little bit just to make it look nice, nothing wrong with that. But just make sure that you're cautious when it comes to manipulating your hair when it's wet, because that is when it's most fragile and more susceptible to breakage. But yeah guys, that is all for today's video. I hope this was helpful. I didn't get to all the questions you guys have asked me, but if you guys have any other questions that you guys would like for me to make a part 2 of, go ahead and comment them down below or just DM them to me, because I am doing my best to actually make my way through my DMs more often, because sometimes I don't only get flooded with questions, I get flooded with the most random things. Like people just send me the most craziest things. My DMs are a hot mess. If you ever want to reach me, I feel like your best bet is to just comment down below, because I actually see these easier than I do my DMs, because like I said, my DMs are crazy. But if you guys would like a part 2 to this video, just let me know down below. But yeah guys, that is all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.